So on this one, I'm going to use the Arex mini jig. This one's a size 6. I don't like to go super big on my jigs. I do every once in a while on this. There's a black one that I tie with the blue bead. But this is a little damsel imitation that I came up with. I used to tie it on a regular straight hook and just a brass bead, but I switched to jig hook with a slotted gold bead. And I was tying one time, I was tying a Copper John, and Gary Barnes gave me a hard time about why I tied that jig hook, the Copper John, with flash on the top. And I know what he was just messing with me, but I'm like,
well, he's right.
Right. I'm like, I don't know, that's just the way I tie it. And then I looked at him and I said, you know what, Gary, I don't think the fish care, because they'll eat it one way or the other. I mean, most of that one's just the red wire at the back, I'm sure, and the size. So I don't put any lead on this. I just use the tungsten and then a couple pieces of red crystal flash out the back, and then tie them back in over the top. So this one, I want to look for a little longer pieces of marabou feather. Usually one side's longer than the other. So I peel off a couple of those. And the only measuring with this one that I do is I want to make sure that it's long enough so that when I fold it back over, it goes past that cone. So I'm going to fold it back, put my thread behind the marabou. Then we're going to use a large gold wire. I don't need quite that much. I was going to helicopter that off, but that's what you have crappy scissors for, right? Don't do that with your good scissors. I tie in that little gold wire. It doesn't matter. I usually just tie it on the side to cover all that stuff up. This was before the hair clip, so I just used the gold wire to hold back my marabou so it doesn't get in the way. I usually use ice dub for this, but I'm going to use a little something different. Dubbing loop again. I will fish this one on a river too, but it was usually first use it for still water. It worked really good on Henry's Lake, but you want to tie it slightly smaller, not as weighted as this one. Put material in. Take it off of me. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not super particular about that stuff because I'm going to pick it all back out once I put the gold wire back through it. I just want to build up enough so that it keeps that cone in place. Not cone, the bead. I got into a conversation with the guy. The guy asked the question, which I don't know why he got mad, because he's the one that presented the question. If you counter rib your streamers, and I was like, or your woolly buggers, I'm like, I don't, because if you tie it right, you don't necessarily have to counter rib it. I mean, the traditional way is to counter rib it, but I don't. In fact, that's not even counter ribbed. It's just in there to hold the material. That's why I keep those crappy scissors. Take it too long to helicopter that. And then.
So he was offended because you said, if you tie it right? Or?
Yeah, well, I guess. But so I only sent him 2 versions of it, that videos that they didn't counter rib it, and they're professional tires. And he kind of is too, but not really.
Okay, so wait, so you got an overshell there.
So yeah, you're right. So I tied off all that material, pulled back that shell back, kind of, tied it in, a couple ties, and then trim it off as close as you can to the bead without getting the other stuff. And then I cover up those little leftover marabou tips. So the guy ended up, I didn't know it, but I found out later he ended up blocking me. I don't know why you present the question if you're going to get offended, but that happened to me a couple times from people from a different location. They get offended easily. But I wasn't too bothered, other than figured if you're going to present the question, you should be willing to accept the answer from other people. I do like to pick this one out a little bit. This material is a little stringier than the ice stub. The ice stub works a little better for keeping it sparse. It's similar to, I think, Richardson.
Danny
Rickards makes a tie fly similar to that. But if you use the ice stub, like I said, it gets a little skinnier. And it'll fish inverted. So I don't know why I tied it back on. That's just the way I've always tied it.